Hello and welcome once again to Better Than Before live on Facebook. This is Dave Edelstein here to talk to you about all things to do with communicating and relating and being mindful while you do it. And today I thought I would reflect a little bit on one of the morning questions that I asked a couple of days ago about what does it take to relate to another person? And two words came up over and over again, of which I'm going to focus on one of them today and maybe the other one tomorrow. Today's word is listening. I was especially excited to see this word come up over and over again because listening is something that I have emphasized so often in these videos and in my work in working with people to get along better with family members, spouses, friends, coworkers, whatever it is. We talk about communication, and communication always seems to be what we'll say, what will come out of our mouth. We have to communicate our ideas. We don't have to communicate our ideas. We have to listen to other people communicate their ideas, and then we'll know what's going on. There is so much emphasis on communicating our ideas. I see a lot of young people expressing an interest. Could I help them with public speaking? Could I help them express themselves better? Can I help them tighten up their pitch or say what they need to say about something? Could I edit their work? Sure, I'm happy to do those things. But again, the emphasis is always on what am I saying? How is it coming out? Really, when we're communicating well, it's so much more about what's going in. And this came up over and over again, that to relate to people well, so many commenters on that question, to relate to people well, you have to listen. If you're not listening, you're not really engaging with the other person. You're in your own little solipsistic, I think, therefore I am world, and you're not really hearing what the other person is trying to communicate. Communication must be a two-way street, but if you're going to pick which side of that street you're on, if you really want to learn something new, if you really want to understand someone else, if you really want to open the channels of interaction between you and connect, you're going to have to listen. So this was exciting to me from sort of two directions, of which I'm really not sure which direction is the one that's at work here. Maybe the people who were kind enough to comment on that question have actually soaked up some of this stuff I've been saying about listening, and they were good enough to reflect it back to me. That would be an incredible accomplishment. I think it's more likely that I, in fact, have been learning something that most people are well aware of, that listening comes first. That if you're going to connect with another person, if you're going to build a relationship, it's going to be done through listening and not speaking. Sure, it's important to let the other person know where you're coming from. You can't really have a relationship if only one person is speaking and the other person is doing all the listening and never sharing anything. That isn't fair either. It does have to be, as I said before, a two-way street. But from your own end or my own end, if we really want to build that connection, we have to hear what the other person is saying. We have to not only hear it, we have to listen to it. Meaning hearing the tone, hearing the inflection, hearing what's behind the words. And then, of course, going from hearing to listening to understanding, which usually requires some kind of feedback to the person who's speaking. Do I understand correctly that this is what you want? Is this what you're really saying? Do I understand this to be what you're really saying? Because sometimes people don't get it all out. And you have to check for understanding. You have to dig a little deeper And you have to show an interest and your concern and your care, that you care enough about what the other person is saying to really examine it and make sure that you have all the parts and pieces that they are trying to put forward. Because even with the best intentions of trying to make oneself understood, it's hard to get it all out in terms that the other person really will understand. And you have to show that you're listening sympathetically, or better yet, empathetically. That's the other word that really came up big. You have to show that you're listening empathetically so that you can hear what the other person is saying, and that you're trying to understand, and you're trying to be there for them, and you're trying to be on their side, and you're trying to get it. I'm not going to go on too much longer about this today. My battery is running low and the charger's upstairs. But I do thank you for tuning in. If you've gotten any value out of this, as always, I encourage you to share it. Maybe there's someone out there who will benefit from learning more about listening. I think we all can. Who knows? So thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back around this time again tomorrow to talk probably about the other great element relating to other people, which is empathy. See you then. Bye now.